Okay, this begins part 2. So, I flew to Las Vegas out of Charlotte, and I stayed in a hotel in old Las Vegas, downtown Las Vegas, called the D. The D is a new hotel in old Las Vegas. It sits right next to Fremont Street, which it used to be the main drag back in the day that everybody drove up and down, and it has now been closed off, and you're not allowed to drive on it anymore, and they've covered it up with an LED canopy that they call the Fremont Street Experience. The Fremont Street Experience is a huge canopy that plays music and lights and has concerts on it and just weird little blobby things, and it's great. I mean, it's fantastic. It's absolutely awesome. But it's not so good when it's outside of your room every night and it plays Hearts Crazy at 7 p.m. sharp every night, and Bon Jovi's It's My Life at 8 p.m. every night. You could set your clock by it. I did. So I'll just tell you now, and I've said it publicly in the past, so I'm not revealing anything new here. If I have to hear It's My Life one more time, I'm going to lose it. I'm just going to lose it. So Vegas really grated on me. Nobody told me you're not supposed to go to Vegas for longer than 2 or 3 days. Plan a short trip. Pro tip, if you're going to Vegas, go for 2 or 3 days. Okay, don't go any longer than that. I went a week. Nobody told me this. I went a week. So I was there for a week, and let's just say it gets a little overwhelming in Vegas. Not to mention the gaming machines, the gambling, the lights, the colors, the sounds, the distractions, the strip, the downtown, the Fremont Street Experience, but CES as well. Everything just got a little bit tense after a couple of days, and I had to take a couple of days of just kind of downtime. So, anyways, that's my own thing. I'm going to go on to the next one because you don't want to hear about that. You want to hear about CES. So CES was awesome. I would never go again. It was something that I really enjoyed, but I think you could get the same experience at home in the comfort of your own home by reading blogs. And read the best. Just follow the CES blog. Follow the CES Twitter account. They'll post up the Innovator Awards. You can get every one of the innovators, the people that they've identified out of all of their contenders as being the real innovators in their field. So read those. I mean, that's going to be everything. But if you do want to go, you'll see a lot of crazy stuff. And I'll tell you what, some of the craziest things I saw that come to mind immediately are, first off, Crescent Bay, OculusVR's 4th iteration. Some people are calling it CV1. Everybody's estimating it's got about a 2K resolution, which I think is probably accurate. I saw it. I couldn't see a screen door effect. I was like the first guy to see it on Tuesday, 10 a.m. They had an app. Oculus built a CES app, and you could actually schedule your demonstration of Crescent Bay with that CES Oculus app. So that was really cool. The guy at Intel told me that. Thanks, bro. And so I downloaded it. I thought he was full of it. I was like, yeah, right. They're not doing this. And they were. And so he was awesome. So the Crescent Bay was nuts. It was crazy. There's no screen door effect, so you feel like you're there. Had audio, but that might just be the prototype. Was connected to a computer. Was not just a phablet. It was not like a Note 4 or a Note 5 or something plugged onto it. It was just like the DK2. So maybe it had, I don't know what it had in there. It had probably another phone. I mean, the DK2 had a Note 3 on it. The Gear VR has a Note 4. They were demoing a lot of Gear VRs as well. I think they had a custom little experience for that. So the Crescent Bay was really cool. They lead you upstairs into this room, and it's a soundproof room, and you're standing on a pad. And they have a camera mounted on the wall. And that camera on the wall, I felt like was doing some body tracking. It's at least tracking your head on a really wide range. Because when I ducked, it ducked. There were simulations where, well, you know, my favorite one was one where, it was the very last one. Spoiler alert, if you don't want this, go ahead like 30 seconds or so if you're ever thinking about this experience. I don't know that they'll ever be demoing this in the future. If they do, you'll probably do it 100 times anyway. So, but the last one they did was based on the Unreal Engine, which is awesome because I think all the other ones are built in Unity. And Unity's cool, but there's just something really, really awesome about the Unity engine. I mean, that's what they make real games with, like real games, like games that you play on a PC. So there was a simulation where there were all these SWAT officers, these SWAT team, and they were shooting at this robot, and the bullets were going in slow motion. Everything was in slow motion. So you get to dodge the bullets. You're Neo, you're doing the Matrix, right? You're doing bullet time. And then the robot shoots off this weird little missile and it hits this car, and the car flies up and you can get underneath it. So this is what I'm talking about, the full body head tracking. Like, I was down and that thing flies up over you and you can look up into the car and see the poor bloke. I met some Australians. Meet the poor bloke who was driving the vehicle before it was blown up by the 3D crazy robot that attacked it with a missile. So, very realistic experience. We were moving through this in slow motion. Because of the slow motion, I didn't feel the need to move forward, so I stayed on my little pad. I think that seemed to be sort of the theme of what it was about, 6 or 7. You can find all the experiences online. People have already posted them. But each one of them, you kind of just stood there. You weren't moving around. It wasn't like the Tuscany Villa. You weren't walking around in a place. So you didn't get that weird, that simulation sickness that you get from your body not moving, but your brain seeing that you're moving. And you know what I'm talking about if you've ever been on a DK2 or even a DK1. DK1 would make you just nauseous after no time, but it was still the awesomest technology that ever existed. DK2, not so much. But with this one, and then Gear VR has been fine, but I think they're going towards a more stable, stationary experience. It's like you're there, right? And so you have, whatever, you're inside of a mech, you're inside of a cockpit of a plane, but whatever, you have to be stationary, and then the world goes on around you, and you feel like you have your center. So I think that's the way they're going with it to get around the simulator system, sickness, and some of the other things. So another thing I want to mention is the directional audio. I think Oculus bought a directional audio company that makes a codec that's really awesome. They just got bought by Facebook. The founder, Palmer Luckey, is a lucky son of a gun. Good for him to be in Vegas. I bet he made some money that weekend. But Palmer, he just got acquired for like $2.2, $2.3 billion. And, he's like 22, 23. So, yeah, he's good, man. He's set. But you know what? He's still doing Oculus dev. Because that's what he wanted to do before he did it, and that's what he still wants to do. And I'm right there with him, man. I want to do the same exact thing because it's fun. He wanted to create the Matrix. I want to create the Matrix. And he's doing that, man. That Unreal Engine demo at the end, that was for all practical purposes the Matrix. So, really cool stuff coming out of Oculus VR. I want to work with these guys. I'm going to work with these guys somehow. I'm either going to work with their technology for free like I am now and continue to evangelize their hardware to everybody I talk to, or maybe they might hire me on. That'd be cool. Hey guys, try to connect with a bunch of you guys on LinkedIn. I'm getting jobs out there. I'm applying like crazy. I would love to get hired on doing something so fun as designing experiences that people can move around in 3D and their Oculus. I mean, that's what it's all about, man. Let's make worlds. Let's make beautiful places. So, I think that's my Oculus spiel. The only last little bit I'm going to add to that is that the whole time, that was where I wanted to hang out, okay? And it was right next to Virtuix. So Virtuix was there with their Omni. This thing was an omnidirectional treadmill. Think about like a sled, right? That you'd go down a hill like a snow sled. Just like a round curve, like a trash can lid. Right? But you have shoes, and your shoes are slippery, so they slide on that freely, and you have a sensor on the top of it. The sensor is what's doing the work. So as you're going in a direction, you can slide around, and you're basically the left joystick on a 360 controller, or on a joystick, right? So you can move your guy in whatever direction. Now, I don't know how you'll strafe. I think that's a little weird. That was something they talked about not knowing how to do, but essentially you're just the left controller, so they can use the input on all their games. I think it runs about $500. They said they were about to come out with a consumer version. They said they were about to go up on their price too. Maybe that's the consumer version. So if you wanted to get one for $500, jump on it. They may have already raised the price. I don't know. I haven't checked lately. Virtuix was awesome though. There was people sitting around Virtuix the whole time, watching these guys, and they had this loud pounding metal going on, watching these guys go through this simulation where they were basically just shooting at some targets that were popping up. And you could see what was on the screen. They were wearing Oculus Rift, they were in the Virtuix Omni, and they had these guns. Now, I talked to the developers. The guns, they weren't aiming with the guns. I think they were doing a trigger. That's it. Where they were aiming was what they were looking at with their Oculus. So that's how they were aiming, which is probably a good idea, I guess. But it would be cool if they were independent. I don't know how you'd get that latency down. That seems like that'd be a hard one to get around. So the Virtuix was really freaking cool. I saw AntVR. AntVR was okay. They got a little ways to go on it. It just uses like regular old 3D, like any game would have 3D, but then it's also doing head tracking, so you could look around. The head tracking latency was really bad. It was worse than the DK1. Oh man, just thinking about it, it was not pleasant. So, that wasn't good. Okay, another thing too. There was a community around the Oculus, man. I met a bunch of the developers. I met the guy that is Unello Design. I met Ben Unsman, who works for a company up in Toronto that made Paper Dude. He was sharp, man. He was there with IEEE, who just so happened to have a mind control racing game, but we'll go into that later. So sharp guys, man. There were a lot, and I also learned about the Silicon Valley VR 2015, which is going to be cool. It's going to be in San Francisco. It's in May of this year. There's not a lot of information about it, but they're saying there's going to be about 400 exhibitors. Hell, maybe I'll be an exhibitor. It's out in San Francisco. I've already talked to somebody that wants to go out there, so it's looking like I'll probably be making that trip. I got to do it. This is what I want to do. Let me think else about VR at CES. I think that's about it. I mean, Crescent Bay blew my freaking mind. That's just all I can say. That's really what it was about for me. I got to try it out early. I got to talk to a bunch of people that were doing it. Everybody was loving and excited about it. They had a long line going around their booth. Nobody else at CES had that long line going around their booth, man. Not Sony, not Samsung. They had crowds of people, and there were a lot of people, but this had like a long line. People were waiting in line to see Crescent Bay. I'm telling you, 2015 is going to be the year of VR. Started at CES. That's going to be one of the trends I think it's going to take off this year. So, all right, that's the end of part 2.